Yes, everyone, another video here from your favorite real estate or Tokyo real estate biohacker. Another sip of water. Not Tokyo real estate man. No, thank you for you guys that follow the channel. Recently, the comment section been a lot of fun. Thank you very much. We're gonna look at an apartment here in this building today. I don't know why I expanded the pictures right there, and I thought I could start the. This is obviously an older building. We'll get to. First of all, we'll talk about this a little bit. I'll go over to the master map. This is a self-managed building built in 1977, right there. And this is it right here, and you see right there it says Maison Otsuka, and even on the first floor, this is great. This building is actually zoned commercial, which is known as Shogyo Chiki, which is sho is like shobai, which is like for sales, and gyo, so it's zoned commercial. And I think this entire block right here, if you look, it's all zoned commercial. So this is interesting, and this apartment was here on the 5th floor, and yeah, there's like looks like there's a little like a club here and stuff. A little club here. So it's a good little block that I like. I don't know what this was. I don't think this is a. I didn't know if this is. I think it just actually might be a bicycle overpass or something like that. Anyhow, we'll wander down the street here at the very end. But it ended up on this really interesting block here in Otsuka here, which is in on the northern end. It's just sort of to the right of Ikebukuro when you take the Yamanote line. If you're on the Yamanote line, it sort of hangs a right and heads over to Ueno Way, just past Ikebukuro, and that's where Otsuka is. And then you'll know maybe the Jijibaba no Harajuku, Sugamo. So I think it's the station before Sugamo, if I am not mistaken. Anyway, we'll come back here. This is the This is the listing right here, but I'll come back here to the master map, as I call it, and this is the sort of area. This was it right here, and you can see here is Ikebukuro Station, and it sort of hangs a right there, and this is Otsuka Station, and then of course over here is Sugamo, which is known as the Jijibaba or Jijibaba is like I'm kind of oji-san, which is person in his like 40s or 50s, and then like when I pass this, I'm biohacking my way. I'm trying to stay, but when I get to the next level, I'm going to be Gigi, which is truly old. Here in Sugamo, there was one here by the station too. Could click this, and it's 57 meters for. So it's cheaper up here in northern Tokyo. We're looking. This is obviously the condominium market, and there's just cheaper samples. Now I've been fairly restrictive here with the map here, and I've taken off any of the stuff we're looking at here. I've taken off all the rental supply, so we can unclick it so you can see the entire breadth of the market, and you'll see I thought I unclicked that one. You'll see a little bit more supply come on, not too much more though, not too much there more at all. I'll click that again now, and I'll click that again. Other things that I'll make sure, see, I'm not a very good clicker. Okay, other things I've done is I've tried to restrict, make sure that the buildings do have an elevator, and Shoryuken, which is of course is ownership. One other thing that I did is I expanded the size of the units to anything over 40 meters. But for example, if I come down here to 30 meters, we'll probably get more supply right there as well. And yeah, I think, I don't know if we doubled it, but we added 1/3. This can be a useful thing for you people out there. You're doing your own searches. Move it up to 60 and see what happens to supply. And you see what happens. The larger apartments right now, everything is here in red. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Wow. And then here, like let's move it over 100 meters, and you're going to have almost nothing. See, like when this part of the city was being built, likely, and this is probably being built around these stations, let's say in the starting from that first sort of wave of condominium in the late 1960s, there's probably not that many even 100-meter units. So that's really interesting as well. So when you come down here, it also shows you if you had a 100-meter unit in this neighborhood, for example, that would really be a good thing because it's supply constrained in a way. The 80 meters, this is what you have. For 80 meters, we got two things. Nothing near the stations. If I move this a little bit, what do we have anything here near the stations for 81 down here? Let's click this. Have a look how much that one is. And yeah, $2.5 million in probably what looks to be like a new, looking at that one there, that looks to be like a new building. And sort of like Park Homes, which is this 85-meter built in 20, brand new. So this is basically brand new, built in 2025 right now. This is like right now. What floor do we got? On the 15th floor. Pretty nice. This is basically the top of the market. And we did that video the other day of just above, this is Tokushima-ku, and above it is Itabashi, and why people want to stay in Tokyo. And this kind of really explains it. Like a development company is here, took this plot of land in Ikebukuro Station probably for as much as 15 years ago, and now have built it up probably from 2022. It takes about 3 years to build it, and here it is for sale here in 2025. And that's because probably Ikebukuro's population is probably growing. Anyhow, it's nothing. It's just like 19 Tokyo real estate. Oh my God, 2025. Nice $2.5 million apartment, and I think it's going to move. Okay, we'll come back here to the master map, and we'll bring it back here to the 40. I think the sort of the key mark. Like the key mark would be at 50 meters. Once we do 50 meters, there's going to be a lot more supply. But you can see, even at 50 meters, a lot of this stuff is generally red. Like here, let's just click this one, which is right near the one we're going to look at. And that's 1.1, like basically 1.2 million Canadian right now. And we'll move the clicker on down here to the 40-meter mark again, and that other one right here by Otsuka will appear. And I like it because it's really right near the station. And don't forget the valuation of the stuff near the station is, when you get near the stations, the valuations go up. And this seemed pretty cheap for me because, and we saw, for example, down here, that new product near Ikebukuro Station, which is not probably as close to the station as the Otsuka here, that was for $2.5 million. So in a way, this is a really good deal in some ways too, because we see there's a sea of red all around, and it's just in a great location. Anyway, we'll go over the price details of what we're looking here at today. And it's 42 meters, 4242. Ooh, good number. And 3,480 won, you say, or basically 330 Canadian or 320. And I think I've already opened it, but I'll just click it open again just because I can't screw that up. And this was it. It is a 1 LDK built in 1977. We saw in the picture early in the video that it definitely is the sort of 1977 vintage. Maybe this hat would have been very in style in 1977. I was alive and having a lot of fun in 1977. We'll click these pictures. I don't know if there's any really good pictures to it. I'm imagining that this apartment on the inside might be SHIT on the inside, but I'm not sure if there's any internal pictures here. I don't think there were. I did like it that it was commercially zoned and near the station, and on like this is where, for example, redevelopment could come. It could definitely come on a street like this, in my eyes. And yeah, that's the building right there. And the Maison, that's the Maison. And I've often talked about it in building names in Tokyo. They always have their sort of moment in time. Like right now, you see that word park. What was it called? It was called. Well, let's go back to that one. What was it called there? Park. What's it called? What was this called here? This is called the Park Homes. This is kind of like a 2025 word right now in real estate. Park. This is like now. So the idea of it's like access to the park, access to greenery, convenience, and that kind of thing. But this here, okay, like my wife she looked at this picture earlier today. I said, "You would like to live in that building here with me?" And she would just say, "Kono bill wa furui yo." This is an old building, and this name is from basically the late 1970s. It was used in a lot of buildings, which is like the French word of maison. They didn't. The first one they would always be like Heim, and then in the second or third wave of this one, they used the French word maison. And this is what it says here: Maison Otsuka. And he'll go through the pictures here. Tokyo real estate man. You can talk about nothing and be effective about. I don't know about that, but you can see it. This is it is a self-managed building. But I liked how it looked. All like at first, I thought maybe that the building was sort of underinvested in, but having looked at the Genkong here at the entryway, it looks all pretty well up to date. It's pretty nice to me. Like it looks pretty well managed for a self-managed building. In some ways too, like you don't see it over posterized. I've often talked about this. One of the signs when you're in Tokyo and you're going to look at a building or something and you're going for a tour and you come into a building and you see posters for rules, this, rules, that, rules, that. Sometimes you got to judge. Maybe you're a person that likes rules, right? And then, but if you're a person that doesn't like a lot of rules, this is actually a good sign because I don't know. I can't really definitively tell, but that's a really good tell. Okay, about what the culture of the building is like. But I think though it looks to be pretty well managed right there, and this is all updated. So pretty, I like it, and I really liked this street. I'd like to actually take the map or the Google guy and then throw him on this street down there because I haven't really figured out exactly what that is. Anyhow, there's no internal pictures, so the owner might be living in the unit, and it's really fairly priced. And I think maybe they just don't want to expose their privacy to the pictures. For example, no, it is currently vacant. So in this case, the interior of the actual space might be SHIT. Okay, this is self-managed building. It is ownership, built in 1977. There is no parking. 42 meters with a 3-meter balcony. Let's see if we can get an elevator in the building. Anything that I'm looking at, make sure there's an elevator. Okay, Toshi Gas. You haven't really seen that lately, but it's hooked up to Toshi Gas is the city gas. If once you get out into far-flunger areas like propane, for example, I think as much as 40% or 50% of Yokohama is still on propane. So it is a northeastern, you'd say. I think it's Hokuto Muki, if I remember. And this is Shogyo Chiki, okay, right there. And I'm going to imagine that the inside of the building or the unit itself is a little bit SHIT. You can see that the prices here in Tokushima Ward are very much more reasonable or not reasonable, they're still pricey, I guess. But I think this is a pretty good deal. And like you can see here that it's falling underneath this 1DK, 2DK average a little bit. I think it's kind of fitting sort of right in there. I think for the size though, I think it's a really good price. And the reason it's selling for cheaper, I'm guessing, is because it needs to be basically refurbished from the inside. And maybe a construction company could get something like that. Look at the proximity, by the way, of how close that is to the station. This is even better than I thought. Okay, this really needs to be looked at. Okay, so we have the Yamanote line right there. And do we have any scale here of the map? I'm going to think that that's almost within 100 meters here of a major Yamanote station. So yeah, this is a really interesting property. This is the kind of ones that Nakamura likes. Nakamura really likes the stuff that's really close to the station. And he is financially a little bit more wise than I am, for example, and he likes these kind of units because the valuations when they get close to the station are really high. And this is zone commercial. So let's get the Google Maps. We already sort of dropped them in there. I'd like to actually I'll come back to, well, no, come right here in front of the building first, but I'd like to come there to this middle street that's next to there, and I'd like to figure out what's going on here. We can see there it is, Maison Otsuka right there, and this is a really nice lot. And let's guess, I didn't cover how many units are in there, but there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So let's say there could be, I don't know, well, I could check it later, but there could be 12 or 24 if there's back facing as well. But I don't think there's 24. Like I think there could be 12 or like 14 or 15 units into this building, and it's this is a tom. It has I see right there. It's tonkatsu. So you can come down and have some lunch downstairs in the building, which is really nice. So yeah, this is a great location right there, and you can see though that there's a sound barrier there. Okay, from we know that the Yamanote line is directly on the other side of these buildings, so it's not really going to pose a huge sort of noise pollution. But my angle on noise pollution is, yeah, it's just Tokyo. Oh, look at that, a new building right there, and all kinds of stuff right there. This is like this is Naika is like internal medicine, and this is Geika, which is external medicine, and this is it's kind of a big doctor's clinic right here, right there. And there's also an eye doctor right there as well. And Tokyo Riste man with my Dollarama glasses here. Okay. Anyway, I think yeah, you can see this is getting really close to the station, so that's why there's lots of bike parking right here. And this was a street with an escarpment here, I guess. And you can see when I talked about commercial redevelopments, this is what I'm talking about. Why this location is really good. I'm not saying it's necessarily coming there. Maybe you don't not a person that wants to speculate on something like that. But this is basically what can come there. You can see there's a crane right there. What's happening there? Who knows? Maybe they're doing a building right there. You can see it was just a street, I guess, with an escarpment right there, and we can go up it and we can see if we can get beside Maison Otsuka. You see a lot of other apartments right there. Satomi, that's Satomi. Okay, we got that as a Tokyo taxi. Is that a Shua? Is that a Shua building? I always tell you, go where Shua goes. No, that's not a Shua building. But during that first wave of Shua buildings right there, this sort of blue tile was very sort of popular right there. You can see Kita Otsuka, it says right there. Yeah, if you're in Tokyo, no one knows any of the addresses, so you have to sort of be able to. So there's no see this on this sign. There's no hiragana or katakana. I guess now younger people are much more wise than me. You all have like a phone scanner. There's probably a scanner where you can stick it into that sign, scan it, and it'll tell you where you are. But back in the 1990s, you had to learn the kanji and then look on. One of the great things that I bought in Tokyo. Tokyo used to have really great bookstores, and I got two atlases. I love looking at the maps, and then I bought a map that I could study at home with just to learn things, because I just could study for hours looking at maps. And then I always had an atlas, a Tokyo Road Atlas, that I would keep in my bag every day. And again, like I've just done lots of videos, I learned how Tokyo streets work from riding my bicycle. Okay, right there, what do we got here? This is the Toyoko Inn. See, this is really what I'm getting at with this property. Like this is a hotel. This is a Japanese business hotel. So when I used to work in the Japanese wedding business as a celebrant, I've been basically all up and down Japan, mostly the northern areas of Japan, because I worked out of Tokyo. And when I would work as far as Niigata. I would go up to Sendai. But I've been to Nagoya before for weddings. And this is the kind of hotel that my wedding company was called. It's a great name. It's called TMC, which is Tokyo Music Center. So if you're a person that wants to get into the Japanese wedding business, you could contact TMC, which is the Tokyo Music Center, and they have an office in Kogane City. And yeah, maybe you don't want to tell them Bruce Sensei. No, yeah, they know me. They know me for years. I worked for that company for years. So, but I'm happy to introduce Tokyo, or not Tokyo, like Tokyo Music Center. Anyhow, we'll come down here further. That's another way I learned a lot about Japan. If you really want to be a person that learns about Japan in really independent ways, when you're doing road trips all over Japan to do weddings and stuff like that, no one really helps you. And then it's really good for your Japanese abilities. And it was kind of like even the first years, like there was no real, I mean, there was, I guess, internet probably from about 2000. So we had internet, but it wasn't very helpful internet until basically about 2015, I think, is when the internet got really helpful. I don't know if we're looking here at talking more about my life here in Japan. Is this? I want to see if we could see how close this was to that sort of building. I'm not doing a very effective job of finding where it was. Anyways, I'm rambling a little bit. Sorry if this is a little bit ineffectual, but we can see how close this is to the Yamanote line right here. Maybe I guess I've gone too far. And basically, at one point, redevelopment is coming to this building. So this is the kind of thing. I'm a really buy and hold investor, and once you have a good piece of Tokyo real estate, I think it's a really rare thing. In some ways, and I think it's a really good thing to keep. That's really my vision on it. You could be a person that, oh, there it is, I found it. Maison Otsuka. You can see really close here to the station, really close. Let's see if we can come up here to the station, and you can see that we're getting really close because it's getting really packed in. That's probably the station right there. And when you get really close to the station, you see we looked at the Tokyo, the Toyoko Inn, and then there's probably another hotel right here. We see a Starbucks coffee. So this is how really good this location is. And with that other backdrop of all those sort of red dots, I know everything that I always talk about every day on this channel is just this whole thing in motion, right? And that's why the comment section is such an interesting thing, because people give a different sort of take on things and what have you. But there you go, it's right there. That's a Yamanote Otsuka station. That's a really great place to sort of end the video on. I don't think there's the other thing. I don't know. This is a good. Visually, I like it. You can see though that all of this has all been renewed, right? But I kind of like that sort of Toyo, like back there, Otsuka or Maison Otsuka is kind of in the sort of shobai or the uramichi, you could say, uramichi no Otsuka. I really like kind of that grimy a little bit of Tokyo as well, though. So, of course, my heart is that of a money person. So I want people to make smart moves with their money, and getting close to the Yamanote line like this when we saw a red pill all around, it's just a good move. You can see there, it's a brand new sort of building. Although you don't see a lot of huge volume up here in the northern end of Tokyo. For example, that's a mansion right there. When you get closer to, like you see the stuff that they're putting up there in Shinagawa right now, or the stuff they're putting up at Shibuya that gets up like really high. You don't see that sort of huge sort of volume here. Even that one that was really near the Ikebukuro station in some ways, that was a 17-story building. It was in Shibuya. I think that would be like a 50-story building. So in the north here, it's just a little bit less popular, and there's just a little bit less volume going on. Or volume being brought on, excuse me. But this certainly is a great location. I think that when we did a video a few weeks ago of that one apartment that was same size, even a further distance away from Shibuya Station, that was 1.4 million Canadian, and it's basically the same situation as this, but that's Shibuya, and this is Otsuka. Anyhow, that's an interesting video here. I don't know what else really to say. I did want to look at the one thing is how many units were here in the building. So that, so there was a backside as well. So there's 32 units. You'd say this is Sanju Nito. And this is the kanji for a door, which stands for like Tobira, which is a door and stuff like that. And it's on the 5th floor of an 8-story building. So anyway, another video here from the Tokyo Real Estate Man. I should put this commercial in the middle, but I always save it for the end. If you're interested in buying this apartment, you can always contact me. I will be in Tokyo next week, and then we can get it for you. The Instagram is Tokyo Real Estate Man website. As you know, I'm sure you guys always cancel this commercial part at the end. And then the other way of getting hold of me is coming here to the website, which is Tokyo Real Estate Man website. And if you hit the contact box, it brings you here. Oh, that was nice movement, a little motion there in the video. Anyways, another video here from the Tokyo Real Estate Man with my new favorite hat. いつもこのチャンネル見てくれてありがとうございます。今日の動画はもう終わりです。